What is up, guys? It is AJ from MMA Experts, and this is the UFC Vegas 16 Hermansson versus Vettori full card predictions and the betting odds. Should be some fun fights on this card. I'm really looking forward to it. Vettori steps in, short notice replacement in the main event in the biggest fight of his life. Let's get into the first fight of the night. All the way down at the bottom, we have a matchup between Villante and Jake Collier. Intriguing matchup, kind of. Neither guy is title challenger. Neither guy is going to be pushing towards that. Villante making his move now at heavyweight. This is second matchup there. He's 35 years of age. Jake Collier, 32 years of age. At one point was a decent prospect. Took some years off, gained a ton of weight, and is now weighing in at almost 265 pounds in his last fight. It's going to be interesting to see him in this matchup. Has he lost weight? Has he maintained the size that he's at, which I do not think is a good weight for him? He's going to probably have maybe a bit of weight on Villante, but I don't think anything substantial. Villante did not come in the best shape of his life to fight Maurice Green last time out. As far as stylistically goes, I mean, both guys have some decent striking. Both guys are kind of well-versed. As far as who I think is really going to take it, it's hard to pick Jake Collier with the way he looked in his last fight. I mean, he did not look good at all. Granted, yes, he fought a very tough up-and-coming guy, in Tom Aspinall, but he went down with one shot. Villante, he was game against Maurice Green. Obviously, Maurice Green is a totally different style than Tom Aspinall. I think Aspinall would probably have his way with Villante fairly easily. Villante's a good kickboxer. He's a guy that has some decent punching power. You need to watch out for his overhands. I mean, he didn't look great against Maurice Green, but he did put him on his back. He did drop Maurice Green with a massive punch. As far as with Jake Collier, I mean, if you look back prior to the heavyweight division, decent striker, good kickboxing skills, likes to throw his overhands, and definitely comes with a lot of forward pressure. I think this fight probably Villante will stop him around the third. I could also see it going the distance. I'm riding Villante in this matchup. As far as betting odds do go, they do kind of vary here, and they have changed. The ones you're looking at on the screen there will not be 100% accurate. Let me quickly pull up the most accurate betting odds I can get for you guys for this matchup. Minus 200 favorite, Villante, Jake Collier, plus 170. So not super different than you see on the screen there, but still not exactly that. Villante, minus 200 favorite, Jake Collier, plus 170. I think Villante gets it done. Without a doubt, really. I think he's going to win it here. Next fight, Damon Jackson, Ilia Taporia. This now is a big fight. This is a fight where I think Ilia Taporia has a future as a contender. I think he is a very bright prospect, only 23 years of age. He looked excellent against Yusuf Zalal in his last bout. Damon Jackson coming in after a hard-fought victory, submission win over Mirsad Bektic on short notice. I like this matchup. I think it's a lot of fun. Taporia, Greco-Roman wrestling background, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, who also has a lot of knockout power. With Damon Jackson, I mean, you have a guy that is a solid grappler, decent on the feet. He's very rangy. He has some length advantage here, 4 inches in height and reach. But Ilia Taporia is going to be too much for him. The wrestling of Taporia will probably put Damon Jackson on his back. He's not going to be at risk of getting caught in submissions. I think he's too high level with his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Ilia Taporia, unanimous decision victory in a fairly dominant fashion. As far as the betting odds for this matchup here, Taporia still the favorite, minus 245. Damon Jackson, a plus 205. So the odds have kind of widespread a bit more here. I have Taporia winning this fight. I don't see a case to be made against him unless he really got caught in something crazy, maybe a guillotine, but I think extremely unlikely that happens. Next bout, Jimmy Flick versus Cody Durden. Jimmy Flick is an amazing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, super slick with his submissions, impressive win on Dana White's Contender Series. Cody Durden coming off a draw with Chris Gutierrez. It was a fight that he was dominating in the first round, and then the next 2 rounds, he let it slip away from him, and Chris Gutierrez got the next 2 rounds, and then it becomes a draw in that matchup, unfortunately. It is at flyweight. Durden coming down from the bantamweight division. I like Jimmy Flick's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. He's very submission savvy. Durden does have a good wrestling background, former state champ wrestler. I think Jimmy Flick wins here. I think he does so by submission. I think you probably see it in the second round, possibly even towards the end of the first round. Durden, game, but isn't going to be able to beat Jimmy Flick in this matchup. As far as striking goes, I think that it's fairly competitive with both men having good kickboxing skills, but I'm riding Jimmy Flick. He's the superior Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. He gets a submission win in this matchup. As far as betting odds in this fight here, Jimmy Flick is at a -165 favorite, Cody Durden +145 underdog. Good matchup, exciting matchup. I think Jimmy Flick takes it, but there is a case to be made that Durden could potentially overwhelm him with the wrestling and not get caught in a submission. But I think that's unlikely. Jimmy Flick gets it done, in my opinion. Next fight of the night should be a good one between Matt Wyman and Jordan Levitt. You get to see Levitt once again. If you haven't seen him, I'm impressed by this kid. He's fun to watch. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist, I would say. He's a guy that's a true specialist of grappling, similar to a Ryan Hall. He wants this fight on the ground. He will get this fight on the ground. Matt Wyman, I mean, he hasn't looked great since coming back. Lost to Joe Selecki, lost to Luis Pena, didn't put up substantial fights in either one of them, in my opinion. Jordan Levitt has a ton of potential. He's a hot prospect. I believe he's under 30. He's only 25 years old. Matt Wyman, 37, has been in the UFC for a long time, since the early Ultimate Fighter days. Took a long layoff, I believe about 4 years, and then came back not looking good. It's all Jordan Levitt here. Predict a dominant performance, submission victory, round number 1 for Jordan Levitt in this matchup. And I'm really excited to see where he can go from here. As far as on the feet, Jordan Levitt, he was going to want to get this fight to the mat. He'll set up takedowns with his striking. He'll get Matt Wyman down, and he will submit him in the first round. As far as betting odds in this fight here, obviously Jordan Levitt is a massive favorite. He's sitting at a -400 to Matt Wyman at a +325. He's getting it done. It's hard for a case to be made that he would lose this fight against Matt Wyman unless something crazy were to happen, and I don't believe it will. The fight will be on the mat, and Jordan Levitt will submit him in the first round. Next fight of the night, Luis Smoka versus Jose Alberto Quiñones. I'm actually really excited for this matchup. Luis Smoka at one point was a pretty hot prospect at flyweight and bantamweight. He's taken on Quiñones, who's been in the UFC for a fair amount of time now. He was on the Ultimate Fighter, I believe the Latin America series. Let me quickly pull up his record, give you guys a confirmation on that. So he came into the UFC in 2014 from Latin America Season 1. He's piled up some solid wins. Only losses are to Sean O'Malley and Nathaniel Wood as of recent. He did lose his debut to Alejandro Perez, but has really made it up with good performances. Luis Smoka hasn't looked great, coming off a loss to Casey Kenny in his last fight. For me, Jose Alberto Quiñones, he is the underdog, but he should definitely get it done. He's a superior striker. He's faster. I also think his wrestling is equivalent, if not better, than Luis Smoka's. I don't think Smoka's going to be able to take him down, dominate him. I don't think Smoka's going to be able to submit Jose Alberto Quiñones here. This is Quiñones' fight. He gets a win. I predict by a decision. I do think it probably goes the distance, and there will be competitive moments, but Quiñones is just better on the feet. I see an advantage here, a clear advantage, and I have Quiñones winning here. As far as the betting odds on this fight, they are sitting at, let me quickly find it here, +120 for Quiñones and Luis Smoka at a -140. I like Quiñones as an underdog. I think he's a very good underdog pick. Haven't been super impressed by Luis Smoka since his return, and especially in this matchup here, I think Quiñones definitely a little bit overlooked, and that's why he's the underdog. Granted, it's not substantial, widespread odds. If it was, I'd tell you to go definitely run out and put some money on Quiñones, but they're not amazing odds, but still, he is the underdog, and you can make yourself a little something. I have Quiñones getting the win by unanimous decision over Luis Smoka. Next fight of the night should be the first fight on the main card. Movsar Evloev versus Nate Landwehr. I'm excited to see Movsar back again. He's fighting Nate Landwehr. I mean, Nate's a tough guy. Nate has fought in M1. He fought, a lot of Russian talent. He fought a lot of tough guys on his way to the UFC, had a solid win streak, ran into the knee of Herbert Burns and was knocked out in the first round. But if you look at his comeback fight, he beat Darren Elkins. I mean, Elkins not the creme de la creme, not the #1 guy in the world, but a solid gatekeeper, and he was able to win that fight. He takes on Movsar Evloev here. With Movsar, amazing wrestling, improving striking. He's not a knockout artist. He's a guy that'll win decisions, and he's content winning decisions. He has the gas tank to do so. I think he picks apart Nate Landwehr. I think he puts Nate Landwehr on his back. I think he dominates. Unanimous decision. Movsar Evloev, he gets it done. As far as betting odds in this fight, they are currently sitting at Movsar Evelev at a minus 630 favorite to Nate Landwehr at a plus 465. I don't like the odds of an upset here at all. Movsar Evelev should move to 14-0 with a dominant performance, and he's definitely somebody to keep an eye on. Also trains alongside Petr Yan, the bantamweight champion. Some solid training partners. You can see it in his striking. He has improved. He's very fluid. He's fast. He's just not a one-punch knockout artist. He's going to hit you with a lot of volume, and honestly, it works out very well for him, and he's going to beat Nate Landwehr in this matchup. Next fight on the main card, Roman Dolidze versus John Allen. Fun matchup here between two guys in the light heavyweight division. John Allen overturned his UFC debut victory over Mike Rodriguez. That was by a decision. Roman Dolidze, knockout win over Cody Bragimov. I'm more impressed by Dolidze's competition. I'm more impressed by Dolidze's UFC debut performance. Granted, I will say Mike Rodriguez is a more stern test than Cody Bragimov. I like Dolidze a lot. His grappling skills are also very dangerous. John Allen will not have an advantage really anywhere here, in my opinion. I also think Dolidze is a lot harder of a puncher. He's also proven he can go 3 rounds. You know, he hasn't gone the distance, but has a 3rd round knockout. That was his prior fight right before making his UFC debut. I'm riding Roman Dolidze. I think he does so with a stoppage victory here. I think he could potentially get John Allen out of there. I think he lands some massive strikes that can do some serious damage. I'm really excited. I like Dolidze. I think he's a guy to keep an eye on. I don't know if he's maybe top 10 material, but definitely could maybe make a splash towards that top 15 and give us some really fun fights. As far as betting odds with this fight, minus 190 favorite is Dolidze. John Allen plus 165 underdog. I like Roman Dolidze all day in this matchup, and I think we are in for a fun fight because both will come to scrap. John Allen does have some decent Muay Thai skills, but Roman Dolidze, different level here. Next fight of the night, Gabriel Benitez versus Justin James. If you saw Justin James' UFC debut, you'd definitely be impressed. Knocked out Frank Camacho in 40 seconds. He then loses to Gavin Tucker. Did have his moments against Gavin Tucker. Gabriel Benitez, very technical, a guy with really good kickboxing skills, kind of can do it all. Omar Morales did beat him in his last fight, but he had his fair share of moments there. Prior to that, a loss to Sodiq Yusuff. This fight is at 155. Justin James' UFC debut was at 55. Gavin Tucker fight was at 145. He moves back up to 55. I like him better at 55. I think he has more power at 55, and that could put Gabriel Benitez in trouble. But the thing is, Justin James kind of has one way to win this fight, in my opinion, and that's going to be a very fast flurry of him rushing forward and probably landing a massive uppercut or a looping hook. I don't think the likelihood of that is high because Gabriel Benitez is very defensively sound. I think Gabriel Benitez wins a unanimous decision over Justin James in this matchup in what should be a pretty fun striking match between these two. I wouldn't be shocked if Justin James shoots for some takedowns. Don't know if he'll be able to get Gabriel Benitez down and especially hold Benitez down. I think Benitez gets it done. Unanimous decision. I want to see how he bounces back from that leg injury because that gash on his calf, or rather his shin, was very nasty against Omar Morales. As far as betting odds in this matchup here, minus 220 favorite is Benitez. Justin James a plus 180 underdog. Fairly widespread odds at this point. I think a lot of people see the ability Benitez has, and that's why I believe he will get it done. Next fight of the night, Talia Santos and Montana de la Rosa. 125-pound women's bout, so women's flyweight division. I like Talia Santos a lot. She hits hard. Good Muay Thai, solid wrestling. Montana de la Rosa, not the best at striking, but does have good grappling skills. But in this matchup, I feel like she's just going to be overwhelmed by the pure strength of Talia Santos, and I believe the Thai boxing should be a bit faster. I will say there are some technical flaws I have seen from Santos, but I don't think de la Rosa is going to have the punching power, nor the accuracy on the feet to deal with that. Talia Santos, she should get the win by decision. May see some clinch fighting against the cage here. Wouldn't be shocked by that. I think Talia Santos is really going to overwhelm De La Rosa with her strength and maybe outpoint her too with a bit of Muay Thai and striking. I'm riding with Talia Santos here. As far as the betting odds for this fight, Talia Santos still sitting at the favorite, minus 210. Montana de la Rosa plus 175. I like Santos all day in this matchup. She should get it done by a unanimous decision. Next fight of the night takes us to the co-main event between Ovince St. Preux and Jamal Hill. Should be really fun. I'm excited to see Jamal Hill fight this high level, especially this early on. Only 8 pro fights, 29 years of age though, so he knows now is the time. He's really edging towards his prime. He takes on OSP, an older guy, has been around for a very long time, Strikeforce veteran. I remember watching OSP when he was like 7-4 or 8-4 as a pro. So I've seen a ton of his fights now. He's very unorthodox. He throws loopy punches. He goes for weird submissions. I mean, Ovince St. Preux is a strange style of fighter, but he's game. I mean, he's been in there with the best of the best. Doesn't always beat the #1 guys, but does go in there and put on his best performances that he can. I mean, he went 5 rounds with John Jones a few years back now. Jamal Hill, really nice striking skills. I did see a little bit of a technical flaw with him leaving his chin up high and dropping his rear hand, but I believe he's going to be working on that. It looked better in his last fight against Kidson Abreu, and then I believe it will look even better in this fight against Ovince St. Preux. I think he beats Ovince St. Preux here. I don't know about a knockout. I think St. Preux's very tough to finish. He's a savvy veteran, but I think Jamal Hill will be able to control from the outside with his kickboxing skills. I think he lands his superior shots, and he beats Ovince St. Preux on a unanimous decision. And potentially I could see a stoppage victory too. I think he could land a big straight shot, and I think that straight shot could do a lot of damage to Ovince St. Preux here. But we're going to find out. I think Jamal Hill definitely does get it done, though. He is the favorite in this matchup. He is a -165 to Ovince St. Preux at a +145, so not as widespread as they were earlier in the week. I have Jamal Hill winning here, but it is a very tough test for him. This is the biggest fight of his life, definitely. Main event of the evening, Marvin Vettori, Jack Hermansson. I cannot wait to see this fight. I think it's going to be so fun to watch. Both good grapplers. Wrestling advantage, I'm leaning Vettori. Submission, jiu-jitsu, grappling advantage. It's all Jack Hermansson. If Jack Hermansson's able to get Vettori to the mat and get on top, that's going to be very dangerous. If Vettori looks to get this fight to the ground and puts Jack Hermansson on his back, that is still a dangerous position for Vettori. Now, as far as striking goes, I think it's competitive. The range advantage is going to be going to Jack Hermansson. He's the taller man by an inch, also has a 3.5 reach advantage. Marvin Vettori, 6 feet tall, 74-inch reach. It's not that Vettori can't strike. He's a good striker, but I don't think he's that level of striker that he's going to knock Jack Hermansson out on the feet. He's not Jared Cannonier. I don't think he has the wrestling game to hold down Jack Hermansson, and I don't think he's going to be able to neutralize those submissions. I think Jack Hermansson gets a submission here, could potentially see a TKO, but I'm riding 3rd round submission victory for Jack Hermansson over Marvin Vettori. And what should definitely be a very fun fight to watch. I'm really excited. I like Vettori. I like Hermansson. I believe the winner of this fight is very close to a title shot. If it's Hermansson, it could potentially be him next in line. If they don't want to do the Robert Whittaker rematch and something happens with Jan Blachowicz and Israel Adesanya, and who knows? Maybe Robert Whittaker fights Jack Hermansson next for a true #1 contender fight. Marvin Vettori, if he was victorious, I do believe he'd probably get similar treatment because he would be right towards the top beating Jack Hermansson. I mean, Jack Hermansson has a win over Jacare, win over Kelvin Gastelum, some big wins, and especially in his last fight. He opened up as an underdog, which is kind of wild to see that. I mean, he's got some impressive wins on the resume. Right now, he's a +115 dog. Marvin Vettori, -135 favorite, so the odds have shrunk and come a bit closer, which makes sense. I think the underdog, Jack Hermansson, gets it done here, and I think he does so by submission in the 3rd round. Should be a very fun card. I mean, from top to bottom, some fun fights. It's a really good ESPN card. I'm super excited to see it. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you guys are looking to play some bets, check out the MyBookie referral link in the description. Really helps out the channel if you guys click on that and sign up from there. Also, guys, like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications, follow my social media, Instagram, Twitter, and I will see you all in the next video.